long as somebody slept beside me, they've always told me I've snored like a bear.
You know, whenever I start with a patient, I always like to know a little bit what got you here.
Other than the snoring and not being able to sleep next to me, and you wake up in the middle of the night with, you've elbowed, kicked them, and, almost knocked somebody out, and then they tell me I'm stopped breathing. That's the scariest part for me.
So I've had a number of professional athletes as patients, and after we've treated them, they are really happy because they go, I would have played another year or two.
How about this? It'd be exciting for me to wake up and somebody tell me, I slept beside you the whole night. How about that?
That's easy. We can do that.
No, that would be exciting for me.
When we talk about snoring and sleep apnea, we're talking about a big tongue and a small mouth. People come to me and they say, Doc, why does that cause snoring? That doesn't make any sense. Here's the easiest way to understand that. You've got a garden hose, and we're washing the driveway, but we don't have enough water pressure. The pressure's already turned up as high as it'll go. What do? Put your thumb over the end. You got it. Okay? So I put my thumb over the end. That water that was going 1 or 2 feet now is going 10, 15 feet. All we did is close the opening, close the diameter. Okay? Something called Bernoulli's principle. But you close the diameter, you exponentially increase the speed, the force, the pressure. So that's why that water now that was going only a foot or two is going 10, 15 feet. Now I have some patients that come, Doc, my nose, my breathing, my snoring is coming from my nose. It's not coming from my tongue. Well, if it's coming from your nose, how come you don't snore while you're awake? When you sleep or you're awake, nothing happens with your nose. It's the same. But when you fall asleep, your muscle tone relaxes, boom, tongue falls back. Again, we go back to that example of the water hose. Okay? Now, if I take that water hose and I'm aiming it at the wall, it's barely reaching it. If I put my thumb over against it, now you're hearing all that noise against that wall splashing, right? The wall is what's making the noise, not my thumb. So yes, when you're snoring, the noises might come out of your nose or the turbinates and such, but the cause is the tongue. Tongue falls back, we're closing the opening, we're accelerating the speed, the force, the pressure. You probably noticed, when you go to bed, snoring's worse, isn't it?
That's what they say. I can't hear myself.
Right, doesn't...
That's the key of sleeping, Doc. I can't hear it. If I could, I would have been did something about it. It's ridiculous.
Hey, patients always tell me, hey, snoring doesn't bother me.
At all.
It's the other person in the room.
Exactly.
Exactly. Now, the problem is, tongue's a muscle. As we lose muscle tone, the tongue falls back further and further. That's why as we get older, our snoring gets worse. And then that becomes sleep apnea. Snoring, as we talk about here, is a partially blocked airway.
Okay.
Sleep apnea is a completely blocked airway. Do you know what kind of damage that's doing to the brain? Untreated sleep apnea, you're 4 times the risk of a stroke, 3 times the risk of a heart attack. Other thing that happens is dementia and memory loss. Are you understanding the seriousness of this?
Oh,
what
no
goes
doubt
on?
about it. No doubt about it. Whenever you're talking about increasing, your chances of catching cancer, diabetes, and all the stuff that go into it, yeah, definitely are.
In the quality of your sleep, do you feel like you typically sleep well, don't sleep well?
You know what? That's a mixed bag for me when I was filling out the questionnaire because whenever I sleep, I know I sleep because I'll pass out. I mean, just flop.
Right.
And when I wake up, I've always been a morning person that, the day's going. Tomorrow's not promised to you. That's what my mother and my grandma taught me. So whenever I got up, I went.
Okay.
So I would never know what a good night's sleep felt like if I woke up in the morning differently than I did for the last 20 years. You're told you stop breathing when you're sleeping, and then a friend of yours, Reggie White, died in his sleep from it.
Yeah.
It wakes you up.
It's done.
Fast. Yeah, it's done. That's why I'm sitting in your chair right now, Doc.
Warren, do you have any other questions?
No, you've explained it to me pretty thoroughly, and give it a shot.
Perfect. The journey begins.
Thanks, Doc.
You're welcome.